between Phat Ultimate and Zotac 269. We already have the pick and ban underway, and we'll see some of the bans coming through. I do spot a few new names coming through from Phat Ultimate as well.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Phat Ultimate, of course. Excuse me. Yep, there we go. Phat Ultimate, of course, a team we called them out for their objective-focused gameplay, and really looking quite solid as a five-member squad. Really, it was this team which didn't have quite a MVP or a star player in terms of mechanics. Tarzan may be the one making the argument, the strongest case for that. But overall, a very, very solid team. So I'm actually quite surprised that they are bringing in some new names. As far as we're aware, it's not a name change, it is an entirely new player. But they have been struggling, right? They have been struggling. This might be the change that Phat Ultimate needs to kind of revitalize themselves.
Yeah, that's right. So I think if there's any time than any to swap out your rosters, I think now is the perfect time to do it.
Technically, your last week to do so, right?
Yeah, it's a last week to do it. It's your last run to try to make it out of group stages. Yeah. So the other issue for you as well is that because these guys they still have to go back to their own regional league to play in Vietnam. So even if it doesn't not work out in the GPL, they can still rebuild up that sort of chemistry that we have seen Phat Ultimate display time over time again, and hopefully bring that to their home region. We'll see how this works out though. Of course, new and untested players here.
Yeah, but it does stand out, of course, that there is the Rumble ban towards Lucas. So as far as, the minimal knowledge we have, clearly Zotac 269 knows that Lucas, if anything, is a confident, if not formidable, Rumble player. A champion that really hasn't seen much proficient play in the GPL. So, maybe Phat Ultimate have a few choice champions or tricky champions that Lucas can play, but Rumble isn't going to be one of those. We'll have to see what he gets his hands on.
Yeah, I just want to quickly point out for the fact that Zotac 269's Beyond is a pretty, what's the word to call it? He's really comfortable on Xerath, and in the previous series that Phat Ultimate played, Zotac 269.
Xerath. I can't recall anything else that he's played besides Xerath.
Yeah, that's right. So I think in the previous time that these two guys met up, they went 1-1, by the way. Phat Ultimate has sort of learned their lesson and taken that out of the equation right now. And banning out the Hack Room as well, I think is just a pretty good choice on their own. But we do see Zotac 269 kind of shifting their focus in the bans a bit. Like you mentioned, the Rumble ban itself. The Rek'Sai here to deny some of the early game prowess from Tarzan. We've seen that how that has sort of affected the gameplay from Phat Ultimate, and Rek'Sai is definitely one of Tarzan's favorite go-to champions, so not having that in today's pick and ban phase is going to be a big impact. Janna as well, so kind of equalizing that supporting pick for a bit. And then Zotac 269, I'm looking at some of the picks they have right now. It's really strong on their end as well. They have the Graves and the Thresh that burst heavy bomb lane. Right now they do have the Maokai and the Lissandra here, so the thing here is that you would usually expect the Maokai to go up into the top lane, but right now with the jungle changes coming in, you have the Cinderstone, or rather the Bambi Cinder, into the equation for the early stage. I would not be surprised if we do see Heaven pick up their Maokai in the jungle itself. So there's still a little bit of flexibility to work with on Zotac 269. Whereas for Phat Ultimate now, let's look at some of the picks that they have. They have the Tristana being locked in, so having the Janna out of the equation is not too bad whatsoever at all for Zotac 269. As we're looking at the remaining few picks coming in, we might just see that top lane carry Irelia together being paired up with that Ahri and of course that Morgana, which is just locked in as well.
Very interesting coming out from 269 right here, taking both the Maokai and the Lissandra. Zac, is a very, very viable choice, especially as, you've mentioned extensively the changes that are coming in this patch with the Cinder upgrades. Zac, actually, I've seen, a few streams as well, just solo queue as well. Really, really able to clear very quickly. And of course, he still has that, got that recent change rather. Got that recent change where his W is a bit more effective.
Yep.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Zotac 269 pulls that out. Yep. Because as for their first 4 picks, they're pretty much, just very, very strong in the meta. A very simple composition to pull off, if you will. Anybody gets hooked, rooted, or, Frozen Tomb, basically that person is going to die. Which is why it's quite interesting. Phat Ultimate gone for the Morgana, which I really like, because you can just put the black shit onto Irelia, send her to the backline, or just create a lot of chaos with that Irelia, have a lot of crowd control be dumped on her, with her passive and the Black Shield hopefully nullified. And that takes a lot of focus away from both Imba's Ahri as well as B1's Tristana. Those two will have to watch the positioning very, very much so, as well as count the crowd control coming out on the side of 269.
Yeah. So with the Zac lock-in, I think it's also a good time for me to chime in to talk about some of the changes that Zac has received over the last few patches. Not necessarily the last one, but he's definitely one of the junglers that have received a massive upgrade after with the introduction of the Cinder Block upgrade, of course. And for Zac himself, things that we haven't seen him for so long now, some people tend to forget some of his abilities here. And for Zac as well, the last time that I played him, you remember Let's Bounce?
Yeah.
In the past, it used to be just this like small bounce, and it just kind of just pushes you a small distance apart. Yeah. It's kind of like negligible in that sense.
It's a really small knockup. Yeah.
That's right. But right now, that knockup on Let's Bounce is actually quite huge. So I believe it's gonna be a thing to watch out for, and also the sense that it's gonna be Heaven right now that's gonna run a lot of disruption into the backline, use that Let's Bounce, kind of just disrupt the whole formation that Phat Ultimate may possibly draw for themselves. Because if you look at it, a lot of the champions really rely on positioning. Ahri is definitely one of those, and not to mention B1, who's on Tristana. He needs to be right at the back end here. So if somehow Heaven can just jump into the back line, use that Let's Bounce, sort of bounce the carries towards the side of 269, I think that's going to be one of the ways that Zotac 269 can approach the team fights here.
Yeah, and the last three picks coming in for Phat Ultimate are very telling of a readiness to run against the 269 comp. I mean, honestly, any professional team worth their weight, seeing Lissandra, Maokai, Thresh, and Graves locked in, you have to be ready to deal with just a bunch of control coming your way in team fights, which is why I like the Tristana pickup. Tristana, I mean, you could argue for the likes of, say, Lucian that has the dash, but Tristana has some self-peel. She will serve that hyper late game carry role as well. And then the Morgana and then the Irelia pick actually will do their respective roles in terms of mitigating the crowd control coming out from the side of 269. So Phat Ultimate, you know, they really looked good when they played the objective game. With the Tristana,
Tarzan might get caught out a little bit here. Let's take a few poke damage from Beyond and Heaven, but as you were saying.
Right, with the Tristana in their composition though, I wonder how quickly they'll be able to get onto Dragons, really. They will have the Irelia mid-game, of course, but this will be interesting to see how exactly Phat Ultimate, you know, plays it out. Because, as I was mentioning earlier, with their draft phase, they look to be a bit more poised and ready to team fight, but their composition itself does require a bit of scaling.
I do feel like they're playing towards their strengths here because, just like you mentioned, you know, B1 is going to take a long time to scale on their Tristana and even for Irelia as well. So what's possibly going to happen is that they might give away a few Dragons to Zotac 269 just to sort of buy time and farm up in the lanes itself. And if you look at the average CS count for most of the Phat Ultimate players, they're actually pretty on point. You know, you're looking at 60s or rather 70, you know, CS per 10 minutes, that sort of stuff. And I think in that sense, they also have very good answers to what Zotac 269 is going to throw at them. If you look at it, here it's going to shoot up B1 nice and easy, and then have Tarzan just run disruptions around the lines. If anything else, he can just throw that Glacial Prison and then let the rest of Phat Ultimate escape. And then again, they do have the Ahri in the mix as well. So that's going to provide a bit of that early to mid-game presence that I think Phat Ultimate is definitely going to need to use to tide them through to the late game stages.
And it'll be very interesting to watch how exactly 269 plays around this Thresh, or excuse me, this Zac as well. Thresh taking quite a bit of poke in the bottom already, just down to half HP. But yeah, with this Zac, first time we're seeing it in the GPL as of this season.
Yep.
Not seen at all even in Group Stage 1, so will be very exciting to see how effective he plays out. And of course, I think there's a lot of weight that is going to be on Tarzan as well as on Lucas's shoulders in the team fight phase once we get there, because they need to be able to draw some crowd control from this, you know, massively overstacked amount of crowd control on the side of 269. Everybody but Graves really has a way of disrupting you, locking you down in the team fight. So I do think that, you know, Tarzan and Lucas are going to have to be confident and on point together to dive in, you know, to start fights or to keep crowd control as a dive buddy, right? That's the whole thing about diving together. It's not all the crowd control just on one person. You split the focus, and you manage to buy time for your carries to land the damage after that.
Yeah, and you know, on to the point as well that Celebrity is definitely gonna have a lot of damage stacked on his sleeve. He's gonna be the only one with a stable amount of damage that is gonna come up from Zotac 269 as well, with the exception of perhaps Beyond and that little bit of extra AoE magic damage that's gonna come through from King J right here, which we are seeing pushing the wave all the way towards the turret onto Lucas, but he's just gonna be able to use that Q to farm away, so no problems for him whatsoever. He's gonna take a bit of damage as well, so it seems that so far, you know, Lucas is holding his own quite well up in this top lane.
Yeah, quite steady CS, even pushed under the tower, 21 to 21. That's another thing we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Once again, that Rumble ban is telling of the fact that there is clearly, you know, carry potential for Lucas if he gets a champion like the Rumble in his hands. Irelia as well does, of course, point towards the a bit of carry potential itself. Taking a look at the items now, we do have the Chilling Smite coming out for Heaven right there. He's going to use it on the ground, but that will be up for him shortly. And that will make his ganks even more scary. Can use the leap in, the jump in to get the knock up. Even if that doesn't hit, you know, they flash away, you'll have the slow to follow that up.
Yeah, I think it's quite telling that he is going to look for some really early ganks before Tarzan even hits level 6. And I believe he is going to visit that bottom lane, which is, like I mentioned, going to be a great choice. Number one, you keep that Tristana down. Number two, you snowball your AD carry ahead, who is also going to be your primary source of damage here. So it's kind of the most ideal choice. And up in the top lane, we do see actually Lucas being taken down quite low over here. But Tarzan is going to be quite... it's just going to be readily around the corner to back up his top laner if there's going to be such a case. We do see down the bottom lane, two fights happening simultaneously at the same time. So we are going to zoom back down to the bottom lane if we can. There we go. Now Celebrity is going to get taken down quite low as well. It looks like it wasn't quite the successful gank that we were expecting out of Heaven right here. Thank goodness we didn't lose any of that.
Quite strange. I would really have liked to have a replay of that actually, because 3v2 and a Tristana, you know, as well in this early stages manages to chunk Celebrity low. So I really would have liked to see what was going on right there. On top of that, even before Heaven visited, B1 and Tier are doing a fantastic job. The Tristana is beating out the Graves in terms of CS, so you know, that 2-on-2 is definitely not going in the way of Celebrity or Sir, and that's something that Phat Ultimate will be very happy with. I mean, of course, it's only about 1 minion wave advantage, but Tristana is still very much that hyper carry once she gets rolling.
I think it goes back to the whole issue that Beyond is picking up that Tristana pick as well, one of his old favorites when he was running through it in the group stages as well. So I think just going with that one is definitely going to be a good run for him, and he is slowly and steadily increasing that CS lead over Celebrity as well. So, you know, going back to the point that individually in their own laning mechanics, they do pretty well for themselves. It's just the fact that sometimes they can lose track and they might not be as fast as some of the other teams that are playing in the group stage 2 itself in terms of the aggressiveness, and sometimes when they can't really match up to that one, that's where they start to suffer. But right now, you know, with this laning phase going on and with both Heaven as well as Tarzan not really finding the kills right here, it's just a very peaceful and ideal situation for Phat Ultimate to just farm up, get those items in, hit those mid-game stages, and that's where they start to shine.
Very, very true. So bottom lane still farming very evenly. Top side, a little bit more action. Lucas as well as King J have gotten a low 1 or 2 times. Good warding in the river. Did spot out Heaven before. And just a little bit of a clue as to why B1 as well as TR are doing so well in the bottom is the fact that if you saw just before the camera switched to the top side, B1 was using his explosive shot, you know, the active, on the ranged minions. So clearing that out, pushing the wave continually against the Graves. And this is something, you know, for all of you wanting to, you know, so-called win unfavorable matchups, or just ask yourself what more you can do in your lane. Yeah, solo queue tips, right? Or it's, if you're going to be going up against another champion, say a Caitlyn or even a Graves that has the ability to duel you, or just win you by, you know, virtue of their auto attacks being stronger, you shove the minion wave and you make them dedicate their spells and their auto attacks to getting the farm.
Alright
then. Of course, the counter to that is the fact that you're pushing up your wave, so you need to make sure that you ward up. You have to be able to be ready for the enemy jungler to come down. And when Heaven did come down, they actually did a fantastic job. So, B1 and Tier, you know, really ahead in this lane.
Beyond just barely dodging out that Dark Binding right there as well. We do see a bit of a aggressive attempt by Phat Ultimate to try to gain control of the blue side jungle, but instead it's going to get spotted out from the rest of Zotac 269. Will we see the dragon go into contest here? I don't quite think so. Still pretty early in the game, and I think Phat Ultimate will not risk that. So it does come in, try to land that dash sentence down onto tier, but will be quickly just touched out. You know, he just walked away from that one, no fear whatsoever. And you know, we did see the Janna ban come out from Zotac 269, and you know, tier said, no problem, I'm just gonna run that Morgana, use the Black Shoe on my AD carry, and I'm gonna neutralize all your crowd control threats.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but B1 and T are getting everything they want in this lane.
Oh, yeah, that said though, Imba is not going anywhere at all. He's gonna get taken down, chunked down so quickly. Heaven gets the first blood off of that one, and we finally break the silence in terms of the kill counts over here.
That's right, really nicely done by Heaven. You could see the impact of the Let's Bounce as you were talking about in the pregame, because you can't cleanse a knockup, right?
That's right.
Imba was trying to cleanse, I think, the follow-up from the Frozen Tomb, but he, you know, was dropped so quickly, kind of panic hit the cleanse, and right after that, the Frozen Tomb came in anyway. So, Heaven getting first blood for his team on this, you know, never before seen Zac. So far, so good.
That's right, and we might just see another gank attempt up here. Heaven is making his way up to the top lane. Will sweep out that ward first, but will he jump into action here? I don't quite think so. Lucas does know of his positioning right now, so he is going to back off. He's going to come back around, and he does spot out Heaven up towards the top side here. So he's going to try to take the dragon by himself, and we do see the backup coming in here from B1 and Terra as well. And will we see disruption being ran by Zotac 269 a bit far from the area right now? Heaven channels his attention into the mid lane, and we do see now the mid laner and the jungler coming around. We do get the smite coming in here, and the death sentence not quite landing. Everyone just bailing on the dragon pit right here. We did see the teleport from King as well that quickly just cancelled away. Zotac 269 a bit anxious to get some action for themselves, but I think Phat Ultimate just doing a very clean job getting that dragon for themselves and just backing the hell away.
Yeah, I mean, something that was very telling there, as Lucas goes a little bit aggressive here. Flash available to King J.
That's
will
right.
have to flash away. Lucas has it as
well.
well.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go in for that.
Ooh.
Does get the last auto attack down from King J as well. And I think he kind of surprised us both here on the casting table.
No, definitely. Lucas recognizing his power spike. He's had that phage for a while, but I think what was really surprising about that, Chris, was that he actually had to go through a massive minion wave. I felt that if King Jake had actually sat in that minion wave, you know, there was a bunch of caster minions as well as the cannon minion, he actually might have been able to turn that, you know, or at least, yeah, at least shove Lucas away, because Lucas had only about one charge of his equal Transcendent Blades left. Might get caught out here though. He's gonna get caught.
Yeah, he's gonna get caught right here. Beyond and both Heaven are just gonna try to duel him down, but he's definitely gonna go down right here. How long is he gonna take? It's gonna be Heaven. That secures the kill for himself. We kind of saw that from a mile away.
Yeah.
I thought that Lucas might have just used his TP to get out of there. Not too sure why he was hanging on to that summoner spell, but that was the case right there. So he's gonna get punished for that one. Down the bottom lane, we do see a bit of trade back and forth. Circus was Celebrity looking to re-dominate this bottom lane right here. But 107 CS to 99. Both Tristana as well as Grace having that BF sword right here. So that window is slowly closing down on itself.
Yeah, B1 really doing a fantastic job with the Tristana. You can, of course, say that Heaven was, you know, unsuccessful with his...
In the mid lane, once again, so much focus down onto Imba. He's going to try to run away. Will he be able to do it? It looks like not quite enough damage as of yet. And this is going to be the greatest game for Phat Ultimate. Is he going to make it? The champ comes down as well. He's eventually going to go down. Took a while to do so, but it's going to be Heaven that picks up the kill. I believe it was from the Cinder as well. So kind of just walking in for the extra damage over time there.
Oh, man. So Heaven, breakout performance on this Zac. 3-0-0 goes back for the Lucidity boots as well. So he's going to have all his spells available to him very quickly. Excuse me. And, you know, Imba not really having a fun time of it. Heaven has really focused mid after some, you could say, faulty attempts in the bottom side. Really unable to capitalize on the pushing from B1. So I think we are going to see a bit of a storyline develop here, which is B1 is really getting ahead of himself. And there's been no attempt except for, you know, one gank from Heaven to try and control this Tristana.
That was botched.
Yeah, quite botched, right? Celebrity actually walked away from that 3v2 with less HP than he started out with. But then in the mid lane as well, this Lissandra is going to be a big issue in the team fights. I mean, Lissandra will be bringing all that team fight. Lucas actually TPing from the back right here.
Yeah, that's right. Will we see any kills being secure right here? They are going to charge in towards Cirque. He's going to be able to walk out of there from the heal from Celebrity as well. On the back end though, we do see a lot of focus down to Beyond. He's going to go down right here. And here we go with the Frozen Tomb. Is it going to be enough to take down him? But the heal's going to come back around. And it's not going to be enough on the side to actually bring him down. But right now, we do see King J teleporting from the back end here. First taking out Lucas. Now going on to Tarzan. Does get the double kill here. We do see Zac split into bombs here. And here comes Beyond looking to pick up the scraps. Celebrity going to push him off with the buckshot over here. And that's going to be the end of the episode for now. Makes it a 2v2 trade.
Wow, so we were wondering when exactly these teams were going to clash with a fair bit of scaling on the side of Phat Ultimate. But due to the fact that B1 as well as Tier have just been having such a smooth game, they're actually able to transition, you know, into very, very aggressive moves onto the blue side. This is all B1 and Tier's early, you know, smooth laning phase coming into play right here. Imba in the mid side, you know, not having a good game of it. Very, very little he can actually contribute to the aggression on blue side. But Tier and B1, you know, very, very healthy, very, very confident in how they're doing. You know, have made multiple calls. That was the second time they've gone towards the enemy blue buff. This time, even more aggressive, calling Lucas down as well. So, Phat Ultimate, you know, we said they picked a composition that looks like they definitely are ready to go up against 269. Wasn't a full 5-on-5, was a little bit split.
Yep.
But so far, they're dealing with the chaos and the crowd control that 269 can throw at them fairly well.
Yeah, that's right. We do see Heaven charging up the elastic slingshot in the background here, but decided to go in against that. Not going to review his position for now. And the one thing I want to point out as well is that, you know, it does look like Zotac 269 is in the lead right here with that 2K advantage and almost a, you know, 800 goal lead right here at the 15-minute mark. But I think Phat Ultimate is happy with the results as it is, because they did take the first dragon up for themselves as well, which I think is going to be very important for them. They already have the scaling composition, so you know, why not throw in that additional bit of combat stats, from the dragon right here. It's gonna come back up in about 30 seconds or so. We did see Tarzan right around the area to try to set up vision for the rest of the team here, and we might just see another fight breakout right here. Will we see Phat Ultimate did what they do before the last one? They went in with a much stronger game plan, decided to disengage the moment they take down the dragon, but this time Zotac 269 are just right around the corner with 5 men in the equation here. We might just see Zotac 269 give this one out. I mean, Phat Ultimate give this one.
Yeah, this is a very good move from 269. Working around the Dragon Pit area with all the control and zone that they can bring with these champions. Phat Ultimate will be hard pressed to actually challenge this. Tarzan gets hooked in.
Yeah, he's going to be the tankiest member though. He's still taking a lot of damage. He goes down almost instantaneously on the back end. We do see the rest of Phat Ultimate coming back around. A bit of damage now being traded. Imba trying to go in onto Celebrity. He's going to use that Spirit Rush to reposition himself. And Zotac 269 might just find it a bit too difficult to take down the dragon. Still gonna keep that aggression on, and I think this might just be the dragon going over to their way. It's gonna be Heaven getting the smite down for themselves. So took them a while to do it, but they finally got that in their own hands.
You know, this is the composition for 269. It's a very simple, easy to play composition where anybody that gets hooked, even if it's the tankiest member, you know, rooted, whatever, anybody that gets even a single bit of crowd control, it will be followed up immediately by the rest. Heaven, of course, throwing himself in after Tarzan got caught just meant that with the Let's Bounce, it was very, very difficult for the rest of the Phat Ultimate team to even collapse on that. When you have a bouncing Zac that's going to knock you up, you really just back away. I mean, we saw Imba using 2 or 3, even all his charges to back away, getting away from that knockup. But something that really surprised me was B1's positioning in that. He was actually very, very split from his team, and I think the one chance that Phat Ultimate had of challenging that was getting a few of those auto attacks, maybe a lucky crit or 2 from B1, because this Infinity Edge, you know, hasn't been delayed whatsoever, and it's quite potent even to just let Tristana free hit you the moment she gets that. But with his positioning, that wasn't available to Phat Ultimate. Tarzan got caught, and then the CC train just took off from there.
I'm just really surprised that Phat Ultimate decided to challenge for that one, really, because if you look at their composition right now, there isn't a lot of hook damage that they can throw on their side.
Yeah.
There's no immediate threat for them to try to siege. So they could have just given that one over to Zotac 269 and not lose any member. Go back into lane, farm up for yourself. Just give that one over to Zotac 269. You guys will be one dragon apiece, but you still know at the end of the day, once it hits the 20-minute, 30-minute mark, you are just going to outscale so insanely against Zotac 269. But, you know, they decided to challenge for it anyway. Yeah. So that's going to be quickly punished by Zotac 269, which is giving them about a 1.5 thousand goal lead. Honestly, at the 18-minute mark, it's not huge, but at least something for them to work with and something for them to maintain.
Heaven getting caught right here.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to use the latch bounce to try to disrupt as well. We do see the TP coming in from King J on the back end. Beyond's going to get chunked down to about half his HP. Ooh. And right now going to use the Frozen Tomb to lock Lucas down for a bit more. And here comes Zac once again on the back end. Tyr's going to be the first to fall. And we do see Zotac 269 re-engaging down onto the carries right here. B1's going to flash over the terrain. On the back end, Lucas is going to fall. King J picks up that kill. And B1 might find himself in a lot of trouble right here. The death sentence barely just missing over there. But that's going to be the double kill. Once again, going over to Zotac 269. Heaven is a tiny piece of blob now, but he doesn't care. That is a 4-for-0. Zotac 269 is going to take that any day.
Zotac 269 making an excellent case for their team fighting capabilities right there. I mean, this isn't a team that has looked sharp in the past, but that one fight might be good signs of things to come for this team if they continue playing at that level. The number of times that Heaven went in and out of that fight was absolutely insane. Of course, criticism must be leveled at Phat Ultimate for tunneling so hard on Heaven.
Exactly.
Yes, he doesn't have his passive up. That is down. But, you know, he just activates his Let's Bounce when the CC is on him, so you can't touch him during that period. And then after that, he gets Lanterned out. Still with a good amount of HP. Throws himself back in, not once, not twice. I think 3 times he used his Elastic Slingshot in that team fight. So Heaven clearly very, very proficient on this champion, or confident for his team in his team to follow up. But on top of that, look at the items. He had just completed his Aegis. That's really not the time to try and, you know, pick a team fight or a scuffle, because that item is just so strong at, you know, 20 minutes in. You could see the Tristana explosive charge would have killed him if not for that item. So a strong timing window for 269 that Phat Ultimate did not respect, and 269 just capitalized on that mistake beautifully.
Yeah, I think they have the bounty in their eyes right here. King J 4-1-4, racking up a pretty healthy KDA for himself. And same case goes over to Heaven, 5-0-4. The debut Zac performance right here, really doing a lot of work as we do see Beyond trying to juke out the Dark Binding. And I think Terra had a pretty good read on that one.
He did.
Yeah, he was trying to anticipate where he was going to go. And did not land that one though. I'm not too sure if we will see Phat Ultimate follow off of that crowd control though. So right now it is Phat Ultimate finding themselves in a lot of trouble. 4,000 deficit that they are working with. 7 kills down as well. So 20 minutes in, we are going to start to see some of that scaling come into play with Lucas coming up to the top lane once again now with the Trinity Force completed. So a bit more damage stacked up on his end. And B1, even though he is maintaining that small CS lead over Celebrity right now, but we do see that 4 assists going to work out quite effectively in Celebrity's favor. And of course the turret advantage as well is going to earn him 1 Brutalizer up against a B1 to add on to the additional burst damage.
Very true. And the real issue for Phat Ultimate now is that with the front line of 269 looking so strong, 4 kills on Maokai, 5 kills onto Heaven, Zac. There's going to be a real big issue when the Maokai and Zac get to your backline. You'll be so busy trying to peel those guys off the Tristana as well as the Ahri, that then it becomes Celebrity who becomes the free hitting AD carry and not B1, right?
Yep.
There's not many options available to Phat Ultimate if they are just faced with massive tanks. If it had gone even, you know, it still remains an option to say Black Shield Tristana or Sejuani, and then charge in with those two and draw the crowd control. But if King J and Heaven are so fed, they wouldn't mind being the ones to engage, or they're probably going to be the ones to engage, and then suddenly the tables are turned, where it's, oh man, we have to peel these 2 tanks. Not just 2 tanks, 2 really fed tanks.
That's right.
It's going to be really difficult for Phat Ultimate in these upcoming team fights, I think. These Maokai and Zac are just massive at the moment. I mean, there's the completed Locket as well, so even more team fighting power coming 269's way. if Unfun Ultimate contests this dragon, it's going to be a bloody mess for them.
I don't think they are going to contest this
They
one.
really shouldn't.
They are just going to stay away from the pit right now. There is going to be Lucas pushing up in the top lane. There's a lot of damage potential up on his side, so they might just look to take down this turret right here in exchange for the dragon, which I think is going to be a fantastic trade for this guy.
Yeah.
Because they know for a fact that, there's no way they're going to challenge for this dragon, as we saw a bit of a fail there. Down the bottom lane though, we did see Beyond getting picked off by Celebrity. Not too sure what was the case here. And here comes the TP on the back end, gonna come in here. Lucas might be playing with fire. We do see King J tunneling onto Imba right here, taking so much damage. Let's bounce once again. We do see Zotac 269 taking down the turret for themselves. And down in the bottom lane as well, Celebrity gonna take down the first tier turret in the bottom lane. So 2 turrets in total for Zotac 269 and the dragon, as compared to that one that Unfun Ultimate pushed up in the top lane. So
yep, they got the teleport as well, got 1 kill onto B1, so just wins all across the map for 269. And Unfun Ultimate, we talked about this a little bit in the pregame, Chris. Or rather, they always have a game plan. They have a game plan, they have a composition that they usually run that's quite solid to pull off the game plan, whether it's team fighting, objective focus. But when the enemy is ready for that, or does an even better job than them, they really don't seem to play, with any... They just seem to fall apart quite a bit, right? We saw a very strange teleport coming in from tier, or rather Lucas. Might have been better to just keep pushing that.
that's right.
And B1 just getting solo killed. I mean, that can't happen at 24 minutes in. You're going to get a very strong push. We saw a Celebrity get a free tower off that. And, I think this is one of the Achilles heel for Unfun Ultimate. If they can't play the way they want, it looks to be a little bit binary, if you will, right? It's either they do really, really good with the one strategy that they have, and if that doesn't go through, the contingency plan is non-existent.
Yeah, and I think you have to give credits to Zotac 269 as well. They understand the overall game style that Unfun Ultimate is playing with. So they're kind of just exploiting their weaknesses right here, which is to play a much faster pace game than Unfun Ultimate usually plays. So what we saw right there was take the dragon, move into the mid lane, group up as 4, let Celebrity hold his own down the bottom lane. They are very confident of his abilities to out-duel B1, which he eventually did. Take that free turret down for themselves and take the second tier turret while they're at it. Go for an engage. If they don't get anyone, that's fine, because they have already done the damage, taken the turret down for themselves. So that's earned them a 4,000 gold lead right here. We'll see if they manage to hang on to that lead though, because in previous games that we have seen Zotac 269 play, they look really solid in the first 20 to 25 minutes. Somehow, subsequently after that, they dropped the ball. They dropped the momentum,
That's
and
true.
they seem lost.
We have seen before 269. Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go now. King J on the back end. Gonna try to duel out Paladin right here. Both of the mightiest tanks just going at it at each other, but
That was a little bit silly.
Yeah. It's 2 brick walls fighting each other. Yeah. So, like I was saying, Zotac 269, I think this is going to be the true test of how much they have evolved as a team over Group Stage 2. Will they be able to hang on to this lead and close the game off in a much more convincing fashion that they have done previously to earn them that second place spot in Group A2 over here? We'll see if that's going to be the case. And meanwhile, Unfun Ultimate does not look like they want to give up as of yet. They have seen B1 just push down the first turret down the bottom lane. King J is going to come back around. Here we go now. Imba's going to be the first one to get focused right here. Let's bounce, and look at how far he has been bounced off right here. Zotac 269 is going to try to capitalize off of this one. Lucas is going to be the next target right here. Celebrity picks up that kill, and Imba on the back end as well will look to get slowed down over here. Here comes the Chilling Smite for him, and he looks like to be in a whole lot of trouble. It's going to be Heaven that secures that kill once again. And we might see the fight continue right here as some of the rest of the members of Unfun Ultimate still sticking around. Oh, and he did get the hook down onto B1 as well. That's going to be high chance for him to try to run. Then B1 still staying alive for now. The re-engage is going to come through here. Tarzan is going to be the next sacrificial lamb of this fight, making it a 4-for-1 exchange. Or 3-for-1 exchange, sorry.
Yeah, it was a good hook by Sir right there, but didn't quite respect the damage that can come up from the Tristana. But the real story of the game really was what we saw, I was discussing previously, was the fact that Heaven and King J are so fed,
Yep.
they can really just throw themselves at Unfun Ultimate. And there's so much that needs to be dedicated in terms of crowd control, in terms of damage, on getting rid of these two guys. That we saw Lucas have the right idea or a similar idea, but he's not as fed. You know, he dives onto Celebrity, and Tarzan and him aren't diving together. So even though Irelia has that very nice passive, you know, to reduce the crowd control, she's receiving all the crowd control. Very, very easy for her to be controlled, and Tarzan isn't there to back up, you know, with any kind of slow or crowd control, or just even absorb some more crowd control. So Lucas isn't at that point, like say Heaven or King J, to just solo initiate. It's too easy for 269 to eliminate him the moment he does that. But 269, they have that luxury, right? We see Heaven jumping in on his own. King J is quick to follow up. And that's just credit again to how 269 have been, you know, what they did to get this lead. They fought in the windows in which they were stronger. Unfun Ultimate didn't respect that. With Dragon coming up in 20 seconds, I don't think Unfun Ultimate are in the position, you know, still to contest. There is the last Whisper on B1. You know, she's got 3 core items at around 30 minutes. That's quite a good measure of Tristana's strength at 30 minutes. But the rest of his team is really not in the position to back him up or draw away meaningful crowd control.
Right, it's gonna come back around right about now, and we do see.
Wow, the teleport used as well. This is a last-ditch attempt from Unfun Ultimate to get themselves back into the game.
I'm not too sure this is gonna be the right choice though. We do see Baron being chunked down to about half of his HP right now, but Zotac 269 has full knowledge of what's going on right now. Here comes Zac on the back end here. We do see the smite coming down. Unfun Ultimate picks up the Baron, but at what cost? Zotac 269 looking to close off the gaps here. The triple kill now for King J, the tanky member right here. He's going to be happy with himself. Will we see the Quadra come back around? We don't quite think so, but that's going to be Celebrity securing the 4th kill for themselves. So, Unfun Ultimate takes the Baron off the map, but at the expense of 4 of their members.
Consolation prize right there. Only 1 member still alive for Baron. The gold honestly doesn't matter all too much. It's just the way the team compositions stack up. Again, 269, except for Zac, have just picked a very, very standard composition. Any professional team, again, worth their weight in salt is familiar with these 4 champions, except for the Zac. And it plays out as you expect it to. You know, one person gets locked down and then the crowd control follows. In terms of the draft phase, Unfun Ultimate, you know, they seemed ready with their responses, but in terms of just how much the items began to stack up against them, and the way in which Heaven played his Zac as well, that one champion that is, you know, kind of the unknown amidst the other very well-known 4. Very, very well played for Heaven. Full credit to him for just being an absolute, you know, monster, literally on this Zac.
The blob monster.
Blob monster, man. He's making a case for it. I want to see more of this. This is fun stuff. This is good stuff.
And, you know, back to the point, you know, before we got the disruption in game number 1, of course, of the day. This is a matter right now, then anything goes. If you can make something work, go ahead and play it. I believe in.
Oh, you know what? I've seen Leona jungle. I
mean, we have seen Urgot mid.
I've seen Urgot jungle too, man. Solo queue, baby. It's pretty mad. Okay, Unfun Ultimate on a bit of a return here.
Yeah,
though.
that's right. Imba on the back and getting chunked down solo already. Heaven is gonna look to jump down onto him, but does not have the finishing touches quite yet. Lucas is gonna go down once again to King J. He doesn't care. He's just gonna go all in once again. Tarzan's gonna get flayed in, and who will secure the kill onto that one? Celebrity's gonna flash in for the kill yet again, and Heaven for the 3rd time gonna try to land the elastic slingshot. Not quite gonna do so on Imba. Is he gonna chase all the way in?
Oh, the BM.
Oh man, the BMs, man. He's just gonna slam the floor and say, "I got your number, bro."
Yeah, man, dude. Elixir of Iron Zac, gotta drop the BM, yo. Gotta
drop. You know, he's just dropping the base. Dropping the blob base.
So good. But you saw, you know, in all seriousness, you saw how far ahead the Zac is and how much impact that has. Again, he doesn't need that dive buddy system. He initiates on his own with the elastic slingshot. And he commands the attention of you know, 3 or 4 members of the Unfun Ultimate squad. They're all pulling back. B1, poor sad B1. Not sure what exactly happened to him, but he was very far ahead. Gets isolated, and then the 4 members are too busy looking at Heaven bounce around. They don't want to be knocked up. You know, right? The moment you get knocked up, as you mentioned, Chris, with the changes.
That's a fascinating blob.
Yeah, the moment you get knocked up by that guy, you know, it's going to be a Lissandra that locks you down for Glacial Tomb. It's going to be a Thresh Hook. It's going to be a Maokai Root. It's just a scary, scary CC chain that can come in, and Unfun Ultimate are too far behind at this point in time. 9-1 and 9 Maokai as well.
That's a huge Zac, man.
What in the world? He takes up. I don't know. This is mad. I don't think I've seen Zach with Elixir of Iron before. This is great.
Huge Zac as well.
We need a Lulu in this game.
Or like, you know, just get King J to play like Cho'Gath the next game.
Yes.
They can compare who has like the biggest.
And then they need a Teemo for scale. That's what we need.
All right, Lucas is
man.
gonna get chased around right here.
Oh, bro.
Celebrity's gonna come around the back end here. So looking for the death sentence, not quite landing that on Lucas this time
Go
around.
for the suicide, buddy.
Go for the suicide. He's gonna get slowed down though.
Uh-oh, nah.
Yeah, and here we go, Beyond on the back end as well. So Lucas buying a bit of time for the rest of his team as they take out the mid lane second tier turret, but King J down the bottom lane. Oh, look at that huge Heaven go as Terra is gonna get isolated, getting picked off as well. Imba looking to charm his way through that gigantic blob. King J is gonna come around, pop that Righteous Glory to give his team a bit of movement speed, but that engage is gonna be over.
That was a super awkward teleport coming in from King J, but you know what? He's 9-1-9.
Who cares?
He would do what? He could probably, you know, DC now and it'll be fine. Nope, not gonna jinx it.
Don't jinx it, bruh. Don't jinx it.
Alright, but you know, yeah, that DP was really quite awkward because the bottom push was already well underway, excuse me. And 269 will be able to take this no problems whatsoever. 3-5. Quite a big Sejuani, but you cannot match up to the massive Zac, my friend. This inhibitor is well into theirs.
Yeah, this might be the last desperate fight. The Phat Ultimate is looking at Lucas on the back end. It's just gonna get crowd controlled down. It's gonna be Beyond that picks up the kill, and on the back end, Heaven still trying to run disruption duty for the rest of the team. It is now a 4v3 situation. They're trying to clear out the bombs right here. Will they be able to do it? The last blob? No, not quite yet.
Okay,
No, yep, they got it. They finally got it. I thought that they won't be able to do so. A 3-for-1 exchange, I believe, at the end. Oh, and here comes Imba looking to get the kill down.
Oh, you kidding me?
Down onto B1. As Celebrity gonna pick up 2 more kills off of that.
That should be game. Oh my goodness.
Fantastic death sentence from Sir.
No, but he was aiming for Ari. B1 probably facepalmed so hard right there.
Like, thanks, bruh. Why do you dodge, my friend?
Oh, man.
Oh. Zotac 269 is going to close off this series, or rather this first game here.
29-6.
Yeah, that's right. Then.
Oh, my goodness. We were so caught up in the game we didn't even see. 29-6.
Okay, so 2 things I want to point out in that game. I was very impressed with Zotac 269 and the battles that they choose to fight in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. You know, they have been fighting in the areas that are very closely needed. So it just gave Zac and Maokai a lot of ways to just use that AoE crowd control to their advantage. And
sure.
I have to say, you know, for Heaven, his Zac performance, you know, what that reminds me
Except for that
of.
one gank.
Yeah, except for that one gank, his performance really reminds me of Meteos over at Cloud9.
When
Zac,
when he brought Zac on
Zac
the
was
scene.
like the one true jungler back then.
This is so OP. This is so OP. Yeah. You know, with the changes, guys, pros, solo queue, go and have fun with the new champions out there, the new builds out there. Clearly, the professionals themselves are having a lot of fun of it. I think he had one death, right?
Yeah.
So
the last one.
The last death.
Yeah, the
Hashtag Worth. Guys, we will be back for game number 2 to see whether or not 269 can continue to dominate on Phat Ultimate or whether or not APU will pull themselves together. We'll be back.